The Democrats are panicked. Even the mainstream media is admitting that Bumblin Biden's border crisis is going to crush the Democrats in elections across the nation. In this video, we're going to take a look at precisely why the leftist activists disguised as journalists are so panicked. We're going to see how all the polls show that the vast majority of voters have shifted to the right when it comes to the border. And stick with me to the very end of this video when I'm going to reveal why we don't have to predict that the Democrats will lose over open borders. We're going to show you how they already have. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone, patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. I am your daily fake news antidote, offering patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and tumultuous times. So if you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we jump into things here, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's collagen, available on my special website, healthwithsteveturley.com. If you don't know, many health experts now agree that consuming collagen helps to renew and revitalize how you look, how you feel. Taking collagen regularly can revitalize your body, can make your skin, bones, even your hair look and feel more healthy and youthful. And if you click on that link below right now, you're going to get 51% off your order. So don't wait, click on that link below and get your own collagen supply today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. In yesterday's video on the Biden regime imploding, I referenced a piece by CNN entitled "Joe Biden is Facing a Crisis of Competence." And I noted that this leftist activist disguised as a journalist over at CNN admitted that it wasn't just the Afghanistan fiasco that's called into question Biden's competence. It's also the ongoing crisis at our southern border, where arrests last month were the highest in 2 decades. You heard that right, the highest in 2 decades. Brought to you by the Bumblin Biden administration. So even the leftist activists over at CNN are admitting that Biden is getting utterly crushed politically by the dual crises in Afghanistan and our southern border. And the important point here is that CNN is not alone. A number of pundits recognize that the crisis at the southern border itself is enough to sink the Biden presidency, and that's what we're going to explore today. Now, keep in mind, the crisis at the border and the crisis in Afghanistan are absolutely interrelated, and I'm sure you know, but take a look. Now that, my friends, is what's headed to the United States. Cargo planes filled with Afghan refugees. Steve Cortez of Newsmax tweeted out, "Raise your hand if you want this plane landing in your town." America paid unimaginable costs in Afghanistan because of uniparty globalists who dominated the Bush and Obama administrations. No more. And those sentiments are indeed reflective of the vast majority of Republicans and indeed the whole of the nation. It's being widely recognized that public opinion is shifting way to the right when it comes to immigration under the Bumblin Biden regime. Look at this from Nate Silver's 538. It's a study that's found that anti-immigration sentiments are skyrocketing, particularly among Republicans. 2 Economist YouGov polls conducted in July found that 84% of Trump voters strongly disapproved of how Biden was handling immigration. It was the highest level of disapproval among the 15 different issues that Trump voters were asked about, such as crime or taxes or guns and the like. 538 also cited a civics tracking poll that tracks developments over several years, which found that both Republicans and independents have grown significantly less willing to allow a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants. Republican support for deportation has gone up 12 points in 2017, while support for deportation among independents has gone up 8 points. A recent Reuters study went even further. A Reuters Ipsos poll found that there was an 18-point increase in the share of Republicans who opposed a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants around the same time period. And all of this corroborates some polling coming from Rasmussen, which found that 73%, 3 in 4 likely voters, are very concerned about the flood of immigrants coming through the southern border. 48% are extremely concerned, and 51% oppose giving them amnesty. It's no wonder then, as part of all this, fun fact here, as part of all this, 538 observed that Fox News mentioned immigration and the border nearly 40,000 times over the last 7 months of the Biden regime. In stark contrast to the ultra-leftist propaganda outlets CNN and MSNBC, who've mentioned the border less than 9,000 times during the same time period. And again, this is being made all the worse by the fall of Kabul to the Taliban. Look at this tweet. I mean, in many ways, it says it all, doesn't it? This is how it started, and this is how it ended. And unfortunately for Bumblin Biden, the crisis at the border is only going to get worse because of the mass amounts of Afghans coming to the country as a result of his, well, as even the leftists over at CNN are putting it, his perceived incompetence. And this crisis of competence for Biden is going to have profound ramifications at the polls. And we know this from two vantage points. First and foremost, we have studies that show that unfettered immigration, most particularly illegal immigration, produces a tremendous sense of hostility between the people and the permanent political class. So if you want to make sure that voters basically hate you, open up your borders, okay? Open borders is one of the major contributors to the rise in nationalist populist sentiments that seek to vote out incompetent politicians who refuse to protect and defend those borders. It's a very real gap in sentiment between the people and the political class. For example, a survey by the Chatham House found that while 57% of elites, political elites, believed immigration was good for Britain, only 25% of the British public felt the same way. That's a massive gap in sentiment between our globalist elites, the permanent political class, and the people, the tax-paying citizens. In fact, elites were twice as likely to reject the notion that immigration increases crime or puts a strain on the welfare system than the general public. Another Chatham House study found that 55% of people across 10 European nations agreed that, quote, all further immigration from Muslim states should be stopped. The highest stats coming from Austria, Hungary, and Poland. Open borders are guaranteeing a surge in populist sentiment. But more importantly, we know that Biden's border incompetence is going to have profound ramifications at the polls precisely because it already has. The Democrats have been utterly crushed in a series of recent elections at the southern border. But first, make sure to click on the link below and register for a brand new Conservative Patriot Live virtual event on September 3rd and 4th, where I and several special guests will teach you to help build a society completely free from all things woke and to experience once again the nation that we know and love. Make sure to click on that link below right now to get your tickets because we got a special limited time offer. From now until this Friday, we're offering a buy one, get one free on all your tickets. You heard that right. We are a movement and we want everyone to be there and bring their friends. And so for a limited time, if you sign up with any registration package, you're going to get another one absolutely free to send to a friend. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So don't wait. Click on that link below right now and register for our new Conservative Patriot Live event on September 3rd and 4th and get ready to help build a society free from all things woke. You're going to absolutely love it. All right, so how do we know the Democrats are doomed at the next election over all of this? Well, because we've already seen it. Now, you definitely want to watch my video on a recent GOP sweep of elections along the southern border. It's going to absolutely make your day because these were elections that were held in solidly blue districts inside Texas, and they all turned red. They all defected away from the open borders policies of the Democrats to the strong border security enforcement policies of Trumpian Republicans. The most shocking was the election in McAllen, Texas, which is 85% Latino, where no Republican has won since 1997. The GOP candidate Javier Villalobos beat his Democrat challenger in a region that had voted for Biden by nearly 20 points. It was a shock of an election, but it was not an outlier. It was just par for the course in a Republican sweep of all of these border elections. You'll definitely want to check that video out. And so we can be quite confident that this border crisis, that keep in mind is only going to get worse after the fall of Kabul with plane loads of Afghans coming into the nation. This border crisis is going to absolutely destroy the Democrats politically, and they have only themselves to blame. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just posted on Biden being in danger of removal. More and more Republicans are coming out and saying either he resigns or we need to invoke the 25th. You're not going to want to miss this, so make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.